Every year, there's a new black even darker than the blackest one. A few years back we had Vanta Black, and then we had the Black 2.0, Black 3.0, and now Musou Black. Let's try them on some miniatures and see if it's really that much blacker. This is the craziest thing ever. This video is sponsored by Gridwars. Hey everyone, Squidmar here. Who doesn't like trying out new things? Well, I most certainly do. For example, I like hitting subscribe buttons on channels I've never subscribed to before. So that's something you can try. Anyway, one of the things I love trying out new products in is colors and paints. And that's one of the reasons why I have about 150 now and probably sold 60 to 90 last year. So I've tried a lot of paints, and I'm not nearly the worst offender when it comes to paints. You know what, we should make a competition about this. Let us know in the comment sections how many paints you own, and whoever owns the most paints, just vote that up. Anyway, black is one of these colors that is the most fascinating because it's a combination of all the paints and it reflects the least amount of light. They still reflect quite a lot of it. But according to K-Pro, who makes the Musou Black, this paint, once dried, if used through an airbrush, should absorb 99.4% of all light that hits it. So why not just make a fun video comparing all of the different paints that I have, all of my black, and see if Musou Black is actually that much darker? Well, I'm using miniatures from this week's sponsor, Gridwars. It's a mix of miniatures from the 3D printable game, and we have at least one mini from each of the 4 factions. So, where should we start? You know what? Let's start by making ourselves a black box. Something that we can use to take photos, and that will be sort of like a black hole for us that doesn't reflect any light. So we can really compare exactly how black the blackest black is and how bright the brightest black is. Also, it will be the first time that we actually try the Musou Black. It's not the perfect conditions, but it's still gonna be fun. Okay, we're getting close. I've done like 4 laps of color in here. With a bare eye, if it's not direct light shining into it, it's looking kind of cool. As I said, when I don't have a direct light in here, this feels pitch black. From this angle though, it's not pitch black. Let's see how it compares to the other colors we have and pin up these cool miniatures from Gridwars. So friends, next up is priming. We got the Citadel Chaos Black, we got the Army Painter Black, we got Emil MIG, which is STEENBECK Black Airbrush Primer, and finally we have Montana Black. And secondly, all of the miniatures that we didn't prime black, we're using a gray primer, and this is to make sure that we actually cover the whole miniature with the black that we're gonna do. I'm a bit afraid that if we primed everything black and then painted black on top of it, we wouldn't see which black is the one that we're actually seeing, so we're starting with the gray just to make sure that everything is. And you know what, let's start by airbrushing one of my least favorite colors, Abaddon Black. I'm using thin layers going over the whole miniature 4 times just to make sure that we got the full coverage and I will really get the full effect of the color. But now let's try my favorite color, that's Vallejo Model Color Black. Okay, well, these are looking very similar. You know what? Let's just add the rest of them. Vallejo Air Black, Army Painter Black, Musou Black, and... This is the craziest thing ever. What? Lucas, come check. I can't see any details. I have to look at it from like 2 centimeters distance. It's completely black.
It's just like a silhouette.
Yeah, you have to look at it from like 3 inches, then you'll see. This is crazy. Let's take the final miniature and spray that with Musou Black as well, but with matte varnish on top of it, because the Musou Black itself doesn't really stick well to surfaces because of its properties. But I'm thinking if we had a matte varnish, that should seal it quite a lot better. Let's see if there's a huge difference between these 2 blacks, and if it actually works to use it on miniatures and still be able to play with them. Let the comparison begin. But first, you know what? let me thank this week's sponsor, Gridwars. What is Gridwars? It's a printable skirmish type wargame. All of the models, terrain bits, dice, bases, everything like that will be available for 3D print and is included to the backers. And all of the rules, the character cards and similar will be online for free and can be printed with a regular printer. The game itself is turn-based. It's played on hexagons where you move the characters individually, and each of the crews that you have printed fight over either objectives or for annihilation. If you back the Kickstarter, you also get some cool NPCs like drones, mechs, you can have mines on the table, and moving terrain pieces that are neutral until someone hacks them to get them onto their side. In the core game there are 4 factions: Titan City Police Department, Cyber Cult, Yakuza, Sakaran Corporation, and Gangs of Titan City. For only $29 you get access to all of the core set with the terrain, the accessories, and the core factions. So if you're interested in any of these really cool, fun, greatly sculpted, easily printed models, put the link to the Kickstarter in the video description and support a really awesome company that helps me run this channel and supports a lot of other YouTube creators as well. Let's do a speed run to show you what we got so far. Citadel Chaos Black, Ammo MiG One-Shot Black, Montana Black Black, Army Painter Black Spray Primer, Citadel Abaddon Black, Army Painter Black, Vallejo Air Black, Vallejo Model Color Black, Musou Black, and Musou Black with varnish. So now that we spray them all, my first initial impression was black can change quite a lot depending on which light you're using. So as an example, the Vallejo Black looks almost like a gray when it's super close to a direct harsh light source. But when we use it in daylight or in a room light, it looks very dark compared to many of the others. And satin colors such as the Army Painter Black looks quite dark even though it's reflecting light both in direct light that is harsh or in soft diffused light. And one thing that we kind of came to the conclusion was that the Musou Black, as you saw with our reaction, is very, very black. I mean, especially when you look at it in the black box, it literally disappears compared to the others. And our first impression with this color really lasted. If you're looking at the miniatures in a soft light or non-directional light, like a room light or similar, it really looks pitch black. It looks like a black hole. If I have it from 1 meter's distance and I don't have a light source that's 5 centimeters away from it, I don't see any detail. It just vanishes. And even when I'm looking at it really, really close, I just see the finest details, like a raised edge or the top of the nose or something like that. It really is black. But if I have it under a direct light that's 5 centimeters away, it is bouncing away quite a lot of light for my eye, but the camera has a really hard time catching it even with that amount of light bouncing. And impressively enough, the Musou Black with the varnish also looks really, really dark. And it doesn't have the same problem that the second I start touching it, some of the color is rubbing off. So if I wouldn't have had the clean Musou Black to compare with, the Musou Black with the varnish would probably be the darkest color I've ever seen. You probably see some of the shapes, but with the naked eye in a diffused light or in a daylight, it's really dark. Anyway, let's finish this video off with a blind test. I've got Lucas and Victor on hand, and together we put up all of the miniatures and we got to look at them and decide which one we thought was the blackest one. We gave them a grade from 1 to 10, 1 being the least black and 10 being the blackest black. So this is a super scientific test. And once we added up all of the scores, the points are as follows. Clear winner is Musou Black, which got a 10 from all 3 of us. That was a no-brainer. The Musou Black is insane. I don't think I've been this impressed by a product ever because it's so different. Second place, the one that everyone gave 9 points, was Musou Black with varnish. And I was surprised with this that it's still that black, even with a layer of varnish. I definitely think that this is doable for a miniature if you have something that you're gonna paint and the final step is airbrushing in shadows with Musou Black or something. If you really want to push those shadows and then just add a layer of varnish to seal it in together, that could really be cool on some pieces. I also think that this could be incredible for creating like black backdrops Third place, the one that got 7 points from everyone, was the Vallejo Black, my favorite color, which makes me happy. In direct light, it looked quite a lot brighter than it did in sort of an ambient room light or in daylight. But the way we're gonna see the miniatures normally is not with a light from 5 centimeters distance. And when we did this test, we had my filming lights, which is supposed to be like a window light. This one was clearly the darkest one out of all of the hobby paints. And the rest of the points, well, I'm gonna put them up here. One of the things that surprised me is at the bottom down here. Chaos Black was the one that we experienced as the least black paint. Then we had the Montana Black. And finally, at the bottom, Abaddon Black, which is a color I really don't like painting with. I don't like the consistency, I don't like the coverage, I don't like the way it shines. And the blind test, where none of us actually knew which color it was, kind of shows that that was the least black out of all of the regular paint pots that we had. So what's our conclusion to the whole video? Well, it was a fun video to make, definitely. This color is unique. I've never seen anything like it, where I paint the miniature and I hold it from 1 meter's distance, if even, and I can't see the miniature. It's just black. It's a black hole. It's super, super cool. Can I recommend this paint for miniatures? Since it rubs off so easily, it might not be the best, but it does have some uses. As I mentioned, making yourself a black box. Maybe take like a plastic bin or something, prime it, and then spray it with this color, and then add a thin layer of matte varnish, and you're going to have something that doesn't reflect almost any light. Perfect for photography, perfect for filming a miniature with a black background, so I can totally recommend that. And maybe if you have a cool concept, maybe you want to have like 10 tanks that's just pitch black on the table, and you have them transforming from being like black shadow creature to something else, that could be amazing. It's all fun and games. If you have any questions about any of the products that I use when I record my videos, if it's the airbrush, if it's my brushes, if it's microphones or anything, I have all of that listed on my website, squidmar.com. If you follow any of those links, Amazon kicks a bit of money back to this channel, so it's a great way of supporting this channel, and you're getting the stuff that you want. If you want to support me even more making fun experimental videos in the hobby, or painting videos, or just fun hobby videos, check out my Patreon. It's, as I mentioned earlier, one of the ways that keeps this channel running and gets me a stable income, because obviously YouTube AdSense is kind of up and down. So I'm really thankful to everyone who's pledging a few dollars over at Patreon. Thank you so much. Special thanks to my top Patreon supporters. Without you guys, I would not be able to do this. So I'm really thankful for that. And guys, don't forget to check out this week's sponsor, Gridwars. The Kickstarter is up now. Really cool figures, really cool game. And with that said, friends, have a great day. Bye-bye.